While Clinton continues to blame her email scandal on Republicans playing politics, the man who is perhaps the most venerated political journalist of our time is likening her situation to the epic Washington scandal he helped uncover. Tonight, Chief Washington correspondent and Watergate historian James Rosen reports on Bob Woodward's comparison of Emailgate and Watergate.
As president, Richard Nixon recorded 3,700 hours of tapes, of which 18.5 minutes, less than 1% of the total, were erased by a culprit never identified. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton sent or received on her private server 63,000 emails, of which she tells us she herself erased 30,000, nearly half the total. The comparisons come now from individuals not typically associated with vast right-wing conspiracies.
You've got a massive amount of data. It, in a way, reminds me of the Nixon tapes, thousands of hours of secretly recorded conversations that Nixon thought were exclusively his.
It's an interesting analogy because President Nixon acted as if he was never in trouble. He was never going to be investigated. He was never going to be caught. And oh, P.S., those tapes, they belong to me. They don't belong to the government. Does that sound familiar?
As a young lawyer, Clinton served on the House Judiciary Committee that recommended the impeachment of President Nixon. Clinton has written about listening to the so-called tape of tapes, on which Nixon could be heard listening to and commenting on earlier tapes. It's likely Clinton made no recordings when she reviewed her own emails and deleted half of them.
Well, I'm not a crook.
I will do my part to provide transparency to Americans.
Political cartoonists are also finding the comparison irresistible, yet the outside the cartoon panel thinker will ask whether Mrs. Clinton shouldn't aspire to be compared to Mr. Nixon. And Nixon's 2 presidential victories, one a historic landslide, offer the only modern precedent for what Hillary Clinton is attempting, namely to capture the White House after a highly polarizing 20-year career on the national stage. Evan Thomas is the author of the studiously even-handed new biography, Being Nixon.
I don't think that Hillary Clinton is Richard Nixon, but she has some of the same problems. And the biggest problem is that she hides things. She's secretive. That's her nature. It was Nixon's nature.
Clinton supporters note she hasn't been charged by the authorities with committing any crimes, but the controversy over her emails and the finances of the Clinton Foundation have taken a heavy toll on her poll numbers, particularly for honesty and trustworthiness. Shannon?
James Rosen live. Thank you so much, James.